We cannot preview this tournament without talking about the reigning champions of the world, Argentina, who once again come into this tournament with an incredibly strong squad and an experienced one. A group of players that have been there and done it before, led by no other than Lionel Messi. So can Argentina go back to back? So let's start off by talking about the starting 11, where you will see a lot of familiar faces that you have seen in this Argentina team before. Let's start off with Emi Martinez in goal. He will definitely be the number one keeper. Of course, at the last World Cup, he was sort of iconic with his big saves and his antics in the penalty shootout. Now, he hasn't had the greatest season for Aston Villa, to be honest, but he will be starting for Argentina and he will be crucial at the back. In terms of at the back, continuing into the back four, again, you're going to recognise them. It's Molina on the right side of defence. He will be the right back this summer, and I think the left back will be Tagliafico once more. We then see an incredibly experienced centre-back partnership of Otamendi and Christian Romero. Now, there is a chance Lisandro Martinez is going to come into one of these positions, but I think it's a little bit unlikely. I think it will be these two at the heart of defence. Now, in midfield, there is a bit more room for conversation in terms of who plays where and who will be in the starting 11. I'm expecting Alexis McAllister to start somewhere in the Argentina midfield. I think his poise on the ball will be important for this team, alongside the more brutish nature of De Paul, who was fantastic at the last tournament. One of Argentina's most important players, and he will be once again. Then we've got Enzo Fernandez, who will finish off this Argentinian midfield, and he'll be the one with tasked with getting a little bit further forward, trying to score goals, trying to provide some output in the final third. In terms of the others in the final third, this is where we start to see a slight change from previous tournaments, because I think Thiago Almada will play on the left side of the attack. Although this will be quite a fluid position for the young fella, but I think he will start games for Argentina. Then you've got Julian Alvarez up front, of course caught up in a bit of a transfer storm right now, but still one of the best strikers in the world. And then Messi, who is pretty good at football. Now, normally, one of the first things that we do when we are previewing a team for a tournament is we look at the shape that they're going to use. We look at the formation and the positions that the players are likely to take up before talking about their behaviours from within those positions. But in the case of Argentina, it's really difficult to do, to be honest, because they're a team that chop and change. They change their starting 11, and they also frequently change their shape. We've seen them in a back three before. We've seen them in a 4-3-3, a 4-4-2, and a 4-2-3-1. So it's a little bit difficult to predict how this Argentinian team is going to play. I think the most likely sort of starting structure on paper is going to be this 4-3-3 formation. But even then, the second they get on the pitch, this is going to change right in front of your eyes. It'll be quite difficult early on in games to figure out exactly what shape Argentina are going to play, because we'll see the wide players often coming inside. We'll see central midfielders that are willing to make runs forward. So I think what we're going to see is, rather than an obvious shape from Argentina, it's going to be about how they operate, how they connect with each other, as opposed to a starting formation. Now, the good thing is I can tell you how I think they will behave on the pitch, some of the habits and the patterns of play that I think we will see from this Argentina team. So often in modern football we talk about playing vertical passes, but for this Argentina side it will be more about being diagonal and actually playing in zigzags to move their way through the pitch. And there's an obvious reason why they're going to do this. When you play vertical football, it's great, right? Because you quickly move closer to the opposition's goal with vertical passes straight through the pitch. The problem is it can be a little bit predictable and sometimes a little bit too easy to defend against, because as that vertical ball is played, 9 times out of 10 you're going to receive with your back to goal. Enzo Fernandez here, back to goal. So it's going to make it difficult to turn and face play and actually move the ball forward. So what we are more likely to see from Argentina, as I said, is staggered positioning in the middle of the pitch, diagonal passes and zigzags from this Argentina team. So rather than necessarily, for example, Otamendi straight to Enzo Fernandez, what we are more likely to see, if we grab an arrow, is we're more likely to see a pass over here to Tagliafico, and then a pass diagonally again back into Enzo Fernandez, and then maybe a diagonal pass to Almada, and then a diagonal pass into Julian Alvarez. This is how they will look to move the ball forward. Now, when I'm talking about diagonal passes, I don't mean 60-yard switches of play. We're talking about sort of short combination football here. And the reason why this is more effective often than vertical passes is because these players can now receive with their body open. As this pass comes from Tagliafico to Enzo Fernandez, he can get his body nice and open. So he can take the ball on the back foot and take the ball forward, which allows him to be more progressive. So this is something that we will see from Argentina. For example, here, the ball starts inside the pitch. They use the short diagonal pass to move the ball wider, and then another short diagonal pass back inside the pitch. So it was essentially a zigzag action with their passes. This is what Argentina will do. Lots of players really close together, zigzagging through the pitch. It will all be about connections and their relationships with each other and their chemistry. And this is why they will use a starting 11 very similar to last tournament. Now, the main stars in this Argentina side are actually in the attack. They're in the final third, although I think the central midfielders may actually be more important. They may not grab as many of the headlines at this tournament as what, say, Messi and Alvarez will, but they will be incredibly important to the way that Argentina look to play, because they're both very selfless runners off the ball, but still in possession. So when someone like Messi has the ball wide on the right-hand side, which, by the way, just excites you, saying Messi's name. The fact that we're going to get to watch him at one last international tournament just feels quite special. But regardless, back to the central midfielders. Got a little bit distracted. The runs of these two will really be important for this Argentina side, because what they love to do, you'll notice the front line isn't particularly big. What they love to do is create spaces in the final third so that the ball can be played on the floor, whether that's a cutback or just a low ball into the box. Argentina will often look to attack with low balls across the floor into the box or towards the edge, and that's why these guys, and Alvarez is included in this, to be fair. It's why that's so important for Argentina this summer, because what they will do is they will make runs off the ball. And when you make these runs, what you do is you just drag these players deeper with you. You drag these centre-backs a little bit closer towards their own goal. And as you do that, let me grab the tool. As you do that, you open up these spaces that Argentina will look to exploit all summer long. That might be someone like McAllister arriving into that space, and of course it could be Messi, who would be quite dangerous from these positions. But even Enzo Fernandez himself is a good goal scorer, and of course Alvarez up front. So this is something that Argentina will look to do all summer long. You'll see players running into the box like this to open up that space on the edge of the box, from where they will then look to be dangerous. So for Argentina this summer, in the final third, you're looking for cutbacks. Lots of cutbacks and low crosses into the box. So it's not crosses necessarily, it's passes into the attackers. The only concern for this Argentina side is that apart from Messi, they do lack world superstars. They're not full of the best players in the world in the way that some of the other teams at this tournament are. Which, like so many of the big teams, will mean that they won't always have it their own way. There will be teams that take the ball off them and look to play. How many times have we spoken about this? And for Argentina, again, it will be about being relatively passive off the ball at times. There'll be moments where they look to jump and press and be aggressive, but I'm also expecting another side that is quite often going to drop into more of a block. And I think Lionel Messi is going to get this sort of cheating role out of possession, and he's one of the players in the world that is allowed to cheat off the ball to sort of conserve his energy a little bit. I think we'll see other players dropping in, sort of taking up some of the physical workload for him, and Argentina will be nasty team to play against. The two experienced centre-backs will be responsible for sort of clearing anything that comes their way. But what Argentina will look to do is get their players really close together, be really compact out of possession, and what they're waiting for is that break, that moment to go on the counter-attack. And again, it's all about Messi. He's got the ability to go and beat 4 or 5 players on the dribble and score some of the best goals that we've ever seen in the history of the sport. But he needs those players around him. Again, he needs those runners that are going to take defenders away. That's again why I think Alvarez is crucial for Argentina this summer. I think he's going to be one of their most important players because he'll run away from the ball, and it'll be those runs which will give Messi the space, either to dribble or to find the pass to Alvarez. Again, I think Enzo Fernandez and De Paul are incredibly important for this reason as well. Argentina lack some of the individual quality of some of the other top teams, but I think their willingness to run for their main man is what will take them far. So are Argentina favourites for this tournament? Probably not, but I don't think they were last time out either, yet still they managed to win the whole competition. So once again, Argentina do have a chance of going far this summer. And I think they're going to be quite an entertaining team because of the way that they'll zip the ball about when they get the opportunity. We won't see the centre-backs dilly-dallying on the ball too often. It will be the central midfielders playing very quickly to get the ball forward, looking for those special attacking talents. That's how Argentina will look to play, with those zigzags in and outside the pitch. It will be about connections, these players understanding each other's game, and then of course the runners off the ball. I really do think that midfield unit is going to be crucial for Argentina this summer. And then of course you've got the star quality of Messi and Alvarez in the final third, low crosses across the box. Look out for that for Argentina. Do not write them off. They may not be the favourites, but do not be daft. Do not write off this Argentina team. They've got a very good chance this summer. Let me know in the comments down below how far you think they can go and who you think their star man will be. But you're not allowed to say Messi because that's a bit too obvious. Give me someone else. Apart from that though, we are now finished for today. So thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you have enjoyed it. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.